Good evening. Welcome, everybody. This is a pretty exciting episode. I'm Dr. Royster, and I'm with my co-host, Miss Dorothy, from all the way from Canada. I'm in Florida, and this is A Journey in Boots, From Trauma to Triumph. This is episode 5, and we have the lovely Chief Charles Broadway.
Yes.
Dorothy.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chief. And he's from the Claremont Police Department.
In Florida.
And in Florida, yes, yep. With our fellow Floridian over there. I don't know how.
Floridian.
There we go. I just made that up on the fly. All right.
Because I said Canada. It messed her up.
It did. Well, no, I just was, playing off you because today's been a fun day. But enough about us because we're here for the Chief. So, Chief, tell us, you started it off in New York first in your policing career. What is being in New York like versus being in Florida?
Sure. So I was born and raised Long Island, New York. Went to high school there. Graduated from college there in Queens, New York, St. John's University. Played football all 4 years there when we had a football team there. Graduated with a bachelor's degree in business management. I've always wanted to be a cop growing up, but I also thought about a couple other things. I thought about being a teacher because I love to coach and just being so involved in sports. Then I also thought about potentially traveling to Manhattan every day this was before a lot of laptops with a briefcase and traveling to New York City, working for some Fortune 500 company. But I really went with my passion, which was to be a police officer. And I joined the ranks of the New York City Police Department in 1996. And I was assigned to the 73rd Precinct, which is Brownsville, Brooklyn. And I learned how to be a cop really quick because it was a very busy area for crime. So again, I learned how to be a cop really quick when I joined in 1996.
Did you serve with Chaplain Sachs? Was he in the same department as you?
So we were in the NYPD, but at that time there was 40,000 police officers. So we didn't know each other. But yes, we did serve around the same time. To give you a perspective, so when I graduated from the academy in 1996, we graduated at Madison Square Garden, and it was 3,000 cops graduating all together in my graduation class. Yeah.
Madison Square Garden, was that the first time you ever went to the garden?
No, I used to go see the Knicks play every once in a while.
Well, that's awesome. So what was it like living in Long Island? I mean, you obviously don't have the accent anymore.
No, I certain words they say, like I still say coffee, still say sneakers.
Coffee. I love that.
I love it.
So certain words they still hear when I start talking. You'll see a lot of certain words that still sound like I'm from New York. But again, born and raised there, that's all I knew. So after I joined the ranks of the New York City Police Department in 1996, while working there, I advanced through the ranks, became a detective. But while working there, I remember a phone call as if it was like yesterday. And it was the morning of September 11, 2001. And I'll never forget this phone call. I answered the phone call, and it's Mike Lapine, who's a desk officer. And he says, "Chuck, you have to come back to work because a plane just crashed into the World Trade Center." Didn't even believe him. His next thing he says to me, quote for quote, "Dude, turn your TV on." Turn my TV on. Just couldn't believe what I saw.
Wow. What were your thoughts running through your head?
So at that point in time, I really, again, once I turned my TV on, just couldn't believe what I saw. Mm-hmm. So at that point in time, I got dressed, started to head to work, kissed the wife goodbye. My daughter, was my oldest girl at the time, youngest at that time, and headed to work. On my way there, listening to the radio, the North Tower collapsing, South Tower collapsing. As I started getting to the city, traffic was picking up, it was getting very, very heavy. And I remember showing my badge to this police officer directing traffic, and he allowed me to get through traffic. I got to work that day, and we were assigned to the Brooklyn side of the Brooklyn Bridge. This is the bridge that brings you right from Brooklyn into Manhattan by the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
And that was a couple hours after the attacks, and it was just total mayhem. People, cell phone towers were down, people trying to get into the city, ascertain their loved ones are alive. people walking across the bridge to get out of harm's way. People just visibly distraught, emotional. I remember as I was standing at directing vehicle and pedestrian traffic, I remember this gentleman pulled up on a motorcycle, turns his motorcycle off, holds up this picture to me and says, "Hey, officer." And I look and he says, "Have you seen my wife?" And just felt helpless.
Wow.
Sir, I'm sorry, I didn't. So that day was pretty much, again, just vehicular and pedestrian traffic for that entire shift. And then the next day I was actually assigned to ground zero.
Wow.
Yep.
That would have been devastating, I'm sure.
Yeah. Again, it was so a devastating sight. It was buildings that once were there for entertainment, enjoyment, business, employment, were now just tons and tons of rubble, smoke emitting from them. They didn't want these large trucks by there and cranes because they felt these buildings may shift and collapse again. So I was on a bucket brigade, and we're just collecting.
What's a bucket brigade for those that don't know?
Sure. So basically, if you ever watching these stories, you'll see police officers and firefighters like a long line right from the rubble into an area where we were putting human remains in buckets, passing those buckets, and putting in place for evidence. And then removing some debris from the rubble as well. And like I said, it was probably about 100 police officers and firefighters just in this bucket brigade passing the buckets down constantly for hours from the rubble. So that was kind of that experience there at ground zero. That was for days and for weeks. And then from there,
how did you process that?
So at that time, I really, really didn't know. Still in shock.
Well, you were like 5 years in as a police officer.
Yeah, and
you were still really new.
Yes, still fairly new. Not too much time in law enforcement. Still in shock. Probably in disbelief. I really thought I was there, and it's crazy because I really thought I was there for search and rescue efforts, but it was really search and recovery. And I didn't really start feeling the heaviness of it until like later on in life, because years later, I lost friends. So in 2011, I lost a captain who was exposed to the same toxins that I was exposed to, but ended up getting sick, all attributed to inhaling those toxins at the ground zero.
Right.
A captain that I looked up to, who I emulated, who exemplified a lot of my leadership characteristics today. He was just a people person, engaged, was praising his men and women, quick to praise his men and women, very personable, just a captain that I really admired. And I remember him sitting me down at times saying, "Hey, I see a lot of leadership potential in you, and you will move up the chain in law enforcement one day." And again, I lost him in 2011. And then one of my closest friends, he passed in 2014. And he was one that really encouraged me to be a police officer. Graduated high school together, played football together, became a police officer before I did. I remember speaking to him when I was in college and he became a police officer. "Chuck, once you graduate, you got to join. You're going to love this. You're going to be a good cop." Again, he was one of the few people that really talked me into becoming into law enforcement. He passed in 2014. Again, another sickness attributed to the same toxins that I was exposed to on 9/11 and days and weeks subsequent to that.
Wow, that is hard.
Mm-hmm.
I do recognize that anybody in service, like there's always somebody that drags us into it.
Yes.
Like for me, it was one of my racing buddies. He's like, "I'm going in the Air Force." And I'm like, "What's the Air Force? Go do that."
Yeah.
But they do. It's like always a buddy. It's always somebody. It's just, come on, join me.
Yep.
And then you never see them again.
Right. Yep.
She went for the free education and the hot guys.
Yeah.
Be real, Jay.
Goals. What can I say? Yeah.
Right? Hello.
So you were in Long Island for what, till 2002?
Yes. So I moved to Florida in 2002. Took an early retirement out of NYPD.
What happened there?
So I moved.
You got tired of the winters, didn't you?
Actually, so my parents moved out of New York, want to get out of the cold. My dad was waiting for a kidney transplant. And so they just wanted it a lot quicker to get in Florida. So they moved to Ocala. So we were looking for areas around Ocala to continue my career in law enforcement. And Gainesville was hired, and I went through the process with the Gainesville Police Department in 2002, got hired with them. I worked patrol for a little bit, but right from there, I was undercover narcotics for the entire time I was there. Go Gators. So from after 2004, I joined the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, which is the state law enforcement investigative agency. Worked there for several years, got promoted through the ranks. My last assignment there was the supervisor over the public integrity unit, where we investigated complaints of misconduct of elected officials, and we also investigated all law enforcement shootings that occurred in the state of in Central Florida. Mm-hmm. So from there, I was living in Claremont. I saw an opening for a police captain job in 2010 for the Claremont Police Department. Went through the process. They narrowed it down from about 15 to 20 applicants to about 3. I was one of the finalists, and I was selected in 2010 to be the police captain. And in 2000,
that's awesome.
Thank you.
Look, getting from lieutenant to captain is very difficult.
Oh, yes.
That is pretty amazing that you transitioned down and then you moved over,
Thank
right?
You.
And then you got promoted. So going from New York to Florida, a lot of them want you to work up through the ranks within their department.
Right. Correct. And in Florida,
they about that a little bit.
Sure. Well, Florida, they'll take your experience. So they will hire people from the outside with supervisory experience, or what we call rank. Mm-hmm. So when I came to Claremont, I was a special agent supervisor with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, which is equivalent to a lieutenant or a captain at the police department. So they brought me in as a captain in 2010. The police chief position opened up in 2012, and I was appointed police chief in 2012 by the city manager. So I've been the police chief since 2012. The average tenure of a police chief of this size agency is about 4 to 5 years. So thankfully, I've been able to serve for the past 12 years as a police chief here. And that's just because, I believe that because of the community support and the support of our elected officials.
Well, it's because you're awesome and you can stay as long as you want. Look, I talk to a lot of your officers and I will attest that they love you.
Well, I love them too. And I love to come to work every day. And, they're out doing the job when I'm home sleeping. They're out doing the job when the weather is rainy or cold in Florida, if you want to say, or very, very hot.
Yes, it's very chilly at 50 degrees.
When we get a cold spell in Florida.
Yeah. Don't even talk to me for your damn cold spells.
Hey, our blood is thinner than yours, okay?
You're from Michigan. Don't give me that bullshit.
Well, I'm not in Michigan anymore. I've transitioned.
That's right. You clicked your heels and away she went.
Wait a minute. Am I Wicked Witch or am I Dorothy in this scenario?
You clicked your heels and you went to Florida. You were Dorothy.
Okay, I'm good with Dorothy. Wait a minute. You're Dorothy. I'm Dorothy. It's all good.
Trust me, there can be more than one.
That's true. There can be.
So I have to ask, Chief, what has been, you've climbed the ranks, what has been, I'm not going to say the best, but the most memorable for you in your career as a police officer?
The most memorable?
Yeah.
I would say, and not to sound cliche, but I would say really seeing my men and women promote, seeing them do great things, seeing them achieve their goals. I really feel that is kind of my job in this position today, is helping them succeed, helping them meet their goals, helping them meet their objectives, ensuring that they have the tools and resources to do their job effectively, efficiently, and safely. It's amazing seeing. Once you create that environment, that culture, it's amazing seeing people step up with strategies to help our community, problem solvings, coming up with solutions. I just love seeing that in our men and women of the Claremont Police Department. Seeing them succeed to me is just amazing.
And I'm just going to give a shout out to Scott here. So Scott says, yes, servant leader. Definitely wonderful answer.
Oh.
And you can definitely see, this is the first time I've met Chief, so I had no idea. And just the way you speak and how you speak about your people, it's definitely, you're definitely a leader.
And and if I wrote a book on leadership, it's all about people. Leadership is all about people, period. And if we ever forget that, then we're not leading.
One of my favorite books is Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last. I firmly believe that. I think it's a phenomenal book. But Scott is also a retired Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
So if anybody knows about servant leadership, it's him.
Thank you for your service, Scott.
And Scott,
26 years, but he'll be on a show later.
Okay.
But I have to ask Scott too, because I know he's still listening. When's your book coming out? Because he has shared with me pages, Scott. So enough of this bullshit with you sitting on it. Like, it needs to get out to the world, because it does. You're welcome. Absolutely. He says thanks for the shout out. And I want a date by when that book will be out, sir.
I want a signed copy.
Me too.
I've heard it, dude. I connected Scott to everybody, so Scott needs to hook me up with a signed copy for sure.
Yes, all right, fine. You get the first one. I get the second one. Chief gets the third one.
There you go. Just have to come down to Central Florida, because he's like he's in Niceville, so that's like the PNC area of Florida.
Okay, Niceville. All right. He's fancy.
He is fancy.
He is fancy. Stalk him on Facebook. You see all his boat and everything. Yeah. And his boat and his time with his kids. Anyhow. He doesn't want us to talk about him anymore. He wants to focus on Chief. So.
It's all about you, sir. So you are venturing into another area too. Chief of Chiefs. What is that about?
So last August, I was elected to serve as the president for the Florida Police Chiefs Association, which is a statewide organization. We are one of the largest chiefs associations in the world. We do a lot. We're offensive legislative matters, head to Tallahassee, ensuring that laws are being enacted that are enhancing public safety in the state of Florida. And ensuring that remains a priority. So very involved in that. But one of my initiatives this year as the president was overall mental health for our men and women. And we were able to, between a couple different state agencies, the Florida Police Chiefs Association, where I serve as president, along with Florida Sheriff's Association and Florida Department of Law Enforcement, all three of us was able to utilize some grant funds and was able to start a PCIS, a post-critical incident seminar throughout our state. There's 14 states that have a PCIS, post-critical incident seminar, and Florida is one of them. And what that entails is about every single quarter, we have a 2.5-day intensive intervention seminar for men and women in law enforcement who had a traumatic event or a culmination of traumatic event or tragedy or critical incidents. It's facilitated by mental health clinicians as well as peer-to-peer counselors and a lot of coping mechanism skills. Our first one, we've received great feedback. Lives were changed, lives were saved. They're encouraging agencies to send their people to this. Our next one is May 16th through the 18th. The last one was for the capacity was 35 people. We filled it. We're looking at filling this one again in May. We're going to host these about 3 to 4 times a year. Again, in the hopes of save lives, helping our men and women who are struggling with either kind of PTSD or just struggling because of a tragedy or traumatic critical incident. But we believe that this is going to save lives in the state of Florida for our men and women, for our personnel.
I love it. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And you have a conference coming up in June, right?
I have a conference coming up in June, and I would love for you to come and speak to our board.
Yes.
And talk about what you do, Doc, and as well as the service that you provide to first responders.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you have the opportunity to kind of share what you do and how you do it. Mm-hmm. I think what you have going on needs to be spread. I mean, 4 states, that's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
I mean, you have 400,000 people in uniform in this country, or is it more?
I think it's more.
Okay. So you have that many people, and you only have a few states that are offering this service that actually saves lives.
Yeah, that's right. And as long as we still have nationwide, we still have officers dying more by suicide than by a perpetrator. I mean, we have to do something to change that and fix that.
Well, I mean, anytime someone takes their life, especially an officer, they're affecting at least 40 people.
Absolutely. Easy.
And, I deal with this epidemic with veterans every single day. I treated somebody earlier who's, his roommate's wife decided to make that choice. And it's unbelievable how much it affects other people.
Yeah, it does.
And if you think you're in that, if you're in that much despair and you're really struggling, there are options. There's 988. Call 911.
That's right.
You guys will get them to us. You guys will get them to people who can help them, not heal the wounds, reduce the, feelings, because a lot of people, you walk into a doctor's office and you have a broken leg and they give you this chart and they show you the little smiley faces. And that's kind of, we have that too. It's called a subjective unit of distress, a SUDS level. And we ask them from a scale of 0 to 10, where are you at? Well, I'm at a 10. Okay, let's figure out how to get you, to a 4, to a 3, to a 2, get you the help that you need. I mean, that is your job.
Yep.
You guys you stand in the gap every single day.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. And, and it's up to us leaders within law enforcement too, to create that culture environment that, it's okay not to be okay.
Yes.
I mean, 20, 30 years ago, it was, suck it up, get over it.
The stigma. I mean, how much exposure did you get to mental health treatment when your captain was taken from you?
That's right. And then we need to create that environment. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to talk to somebody. It's okay to get help. And it's really incumbent upon police chiefs and sheriffs to create that culture and environment for that men and women. Like you said, to get away from that stigma, get rid of that stigma.
Well, I was in the service. Well, I'm a little bit older than you. So I was in the Air Force a little bit before you started your journey. But, it was suck it up and drive on, throw some dirt on it. It was the mindset. And I mean, I know a lot of people don't know my story, but one of my first traumatic experiences outside of my childhood was my best friend died by suicide, and I tried to revive her.
Wow.
Not a good idea. Carbon monoxide that's not great. The fireman yelled at me. It was not good. But I didn't know what I was doing, and I wasn't armed with anything to help her or help myself. I carried survivor's guilt for probably 25 years because I didn't understand. I thought if I would have changed my routine that day, if I stood, if I would have stayed with her, if that would have changed her mindset. But I really didn't understand that it was inevitable. She was going to make the choice no matter what I chose to do.
Right.
I would have just postponed it a day or two, but she was in a position where that was completely her intention and it was not going to change regardless, but there's a lot of people that are looking for someone to stand in the gap and say, hey, are you okay? What's going on?
That's right.
Because they just want to know that someone cares. They get to this cycle and thought process that no one cares. Well, we care.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
I have to say, I didn't know that your department was putting these conferences on. I had no idea, because I've interviewed over 40 to 50 people in uniform most of them veterans, and they all said the same thing. If I was to go to my commanding officer and say, hey, I think I have PTSD and I want to kill myself, then they'd be without a job. So I really find it, when you told me that just now, I was just like, well, wait a minute. So how can we support you in getting that out so that other stations and take on the same initiatives and help their officers?
Yeah.
There are a lot of officers with the mindset that if they claim that they've had trauma or they go get treatment, that gun and badge is on the chief's desk.
That their job is in jeopardy. And that's why a lot of people won't talk as well. And I think it starts with the culture. I think it starts with that chief or sheriff, that head of that agency, that CEO. Again, to create that culture and environment first, and then lay out various different programs. Now, this program that we have, there's other programs out there that other chiefs and sheriffs may have within their agencies. This is the one that we did reference because it is kind of a statewide initiative. We've seen great success. I believe it's in North or South Carolina. They started a PCIS program, great success. And again, we got together to see where we can pool our resources, and we started the post-critical incident seminar. Again, we've seen great success. Excuse me, from the first one that we had seminar, and again, we're looking for another great one coming in May.
Well, one of my providers lives in South Carolina, but I'm pretty mad at them because they gave me a ticket.
Were you speeding?
Well, I was in a Mitsubishi Mirage. It's kind of like a geostorm because Amazon hit my car and it was in the shop. So I flew up to Virginia and drove back in a rental car, and I didn't know it could do that speed.
Oh.
And I was right on the border of Georgia, and I'm just like, oh! If I would have just, Fred Flintstone did. I would have been on the Georgia side.
So there's two things I want to address. Number one, for us civilians that are like clueless here, what does PCIS stand for?
Okay, Post Critical Incident Seminar. Post Critical Incident Seminar. Again, a 2.5-day intensive seminar. And actually, we opened it up too for the officer spouses. So we had a few
That's awesome.
officers bring their spouses with them.
That is freaking amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, the feedback that we got was just outstanding.
What about retired officers?
This one, I believe, so it's funny you say that because they say that, with the numbers that we track of officers that commit suicide, if you accounted for the retired officers, that number goes up a lot higher. But they usually just don't track those, right? They retire and then they commit suicide. Those numbers aren't tracked. So we need to do something more for our retired officers as well to keep them connected and engaged.
Well, your insurance switches when you retire, so you don't have as much coverage for services that you need. We have the same challenges with police officers that retire as we do with active duty members. Yep. So that transitional trauma, what do I do next? Because there's so many officers that can't wait to get out of, done with the drop, and they move forward, but they're not planning on what they're doing after service.
Right. So true. Yeah. So true.
So there's a couple comments in here that I'd just like to address from Felicia here. She says, when you were talking about the, bringing this program on, Felicia had said, or the chief will order that no one talk to the officer who sought help. Like when we were talking about if an officer was to come in and say, hey, I have PTSD and want to take my life, or she says that this has been added to the hesitation people feel. I just want to say that, yes, like Chief had said, that in his department, this is what he's rolling out and across the state of Florida. So, there may be chiefs of police that have that mindset, but I'm praying to God that they're listening to this, show.
Yes,
I don't know why I can't
listen to their president. That would be wonderful if they would do that. Yes.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Like, let's take this and let's take it to your president and say, hey, this is what a couple stations are doing, or whatever you want to call them.
Police departments. Yeah,
police departments. Yeah. And this is what my police department's doing. This is my success rate of this, compared to other suicide rates in other departments.
Mhm.
And let's put this into place, because this is one of the initiatives that I've been pushing home, especially with our veterans now. Now that I'm with Dr. J here.
Mhm.
Let's heal everybody. As somebody who has lost 3 people to suicide in my own close network, I get it. Like, I know what it's like, and let's stop this shit,
That's right.
because and it should, we're at work more than we're at anywhere else, and
That's
within
right.
your line of work, your men and women are more susceptible to getting that, to having those mental health issues. So let's heal it from the inside out. This is what I've been fighting for years.
Absolutely.
So I am all on your bandwagon, and I want to see what the hell I can do to help you.
Right. Well, he's the chief of chiefs. He's the chief of chiefs.
One other thing we did also too, there's these apps out there now. So we have these wellness apps on your phone, right? You download it to your Apple phone or your iPhone or Android, and it's a wellness app where there's healthy eating information, exercise information, but there's also a cadre of people, peer-to-peer counselors, mental health clinicians.
I'm on there.
Dr. Royce is on ours. So every officer, I downloaded it. My command staff downloaded it. We showed our officers this app. I cannot look and see who's talking to who or what kind of help that they are getting. But it's this app. It's on their own phone, and they can get help. And again, they can look at a bio of someone and say, okay, I want to talk to this person because this person has this sort of background. I want to talk to this person because I want to talk to male or female or whatever they want. It's all on this app, and they can talk. And there's also a 24-hour hotline on there. If midnight or early morning hours they need someone to talk to, again, it's all privacy again, and I can't see who's talking to who and why. We offered that to all of our men and women as well. Several of the officers downloaded that app. Mm-hmm. And I have it on my phone as well.
He does. I've seen it. He's like, look, you're on here. And I'm like,
that's right. She's one of our clinicians on there. Again, peer officers on there, counselors, again, just a cadre of people an officer can talk to if he or she does not feel comfortable talking to me or a command staff member or supervisor. All that information is there.
That is freaking amazing. And so now that you're the chief of chiefs, so if I hear of other departments that are, perhaps alluding to what Felicia is saying here, and they're not supporting their men and women in uniform, do I have full permission to say, hey, you need to talk to
Absolutely. Call me. I am readily available, always available. Call
you
me.
have no idea, sir, what you have just opened up.
It's
Pandora's box. Here it is.
If I need a help or an assistance in any way, please do not hesitate to contact me.
So what made you shift from having the good old boy mindset to, hey, it's okay to reach out and get help?
It's okay. So a funny story. So I was talking about several years ago, I was given a lot of speeches on 9/11, right? I asked to speak everywhere. And again, it started hitting me more and more when I lost my captain in 2011 and one of my closest friends in 2014.
Right.
Again, they were exposed to the exact same things I was exposed to. They got sick. They're no longer here. And I was sharing like several times. And when we get closer to 9/11, I don't think there's not a 9/11 the last several years that I have not cried. It's just, I think of something or something reminds me. We have a ceremony here every single year, and I can't go through that.
I haven't worked with him yet, Dorothy.
I'm sorry?
I haven't had a chance to work with him yet.
Okay.
We're going to fix that whole up thing.
Gotcha. It's just every year, every year that date approaches and just get emotional. But so several years ago, I was talking about it, and I was giving my candid speech, and I was just telling them everything, what I've been doing, what I saw, right? The human remains, the rubble that once were buildings, some smoke emitting from it, just everything. And I finished my speech, and this guy from it was at a college, and he came up to me and says, "Hey, Chief, thank you so much. Great speech. You really kind of gave us a perception of what was going on that day for us that were not there." He says, "But I got a question for you." He says, "Did you get any perspective from that? Did you learn anything?" Wow. I said, it really made me think. It was like an epiphany for me, because it was like all I talked about was the negative, right? And I thought to myself, I said, sometimes, that's how we approach life. Is all we see is the negative. We see the glass is always half empty. We see what could be wrong or what is wrong. And it really, again, it just was a wake up call for me. And I said, you know what, when I give this speech, now I'm always going to end it where first, life is fragile. I'm blessed to be alive today, blessed for the opportunity to speak. I saw some good come out of that in reference to, I saw people working together. I saw people putting their differences aside, and it was our commonalities of service and love, right, and helping one another, which brought resolve to a horrific situation. I saw not-for-profits helping us out so much, giving us clothes and food while we're working at Ground Zero. There's some good that came out of that, and I added that to my speech at every single time, and kind of I applied that to life as well. So yeah, I had some challenges, but you know what? Still blessed to be alive, still blessed to be able to tell people about my story, still blessed to be able to utilize this profession to help others, to inspire others, encourage others, because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's not about Chief Broadway. It's about what did I do with this career? What did I do with my talents and gifts to help somebody else, inspire somebody else? So kind of like those challenges to me kind of brought that perspective to me. And that helped me get through those challenging times. But I tell you, as 9/11 always approaches, it just always hits me. Always.
Well, maybe this year will be different.
Yeah.
Dr. J's not done with you yet.
All right.
I just need like 10 minutes. So I do want to tell you
not
about.
that there's anything wrong with you having those feelings or emotions.
Well,
I just
that's
want
true.
to know that.
Yes,
Right, correct. No, you're right. Absolutely.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to make sure that
No,
that's
good
important
point.
that people hear that.
Yeah,
Very
but I don't want it stuck in here either.
No.
So that's
Good-
what
good
we'll
point.
work on
Thank you.
alleviating. But I do want to introduce Felicia. She was part of Tampa PD for a really long time, and she does a lot with mental wellness,
Mhm.
mental health wellness. She's had me come down to Tampa PD at the Academy and speak a couple times, and
Mhm.
she's an amazing human being. So if you have an opportunity for her to speak at your conference, that would be
Sure.
awesome.
Love to.
So I will make sure y'all are connected.
Sure. Love to.
And we are having Raul next week. So woohoo.
Oh, awesome. So Raul is part of an initiative. So he's the one that works with the app that we have on our phones for our officers. So he can tell you about that.
Plus, he was part of Orlando PD for.
Yeah. And he was a respondent to Pulse.
Right. And
Mhm.
He's going to talk about that.
Yep.
He's got Trauma Behind the Badge. I'm surprised you
That's
haven't been on
correct.
that show.
Yep.
Those
Yep.
guys are fun.
Yeah, they are fun. They are fun. Yeah. They're definitely fun. Good guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. He's a good man.
So any words of wisdom? Any suggestions, comments, anything?
I would say-
In 30 years as a police officer, you have got to have some advice.
I would say, again, leave you with that. It is okay not to be okay. It is okay to seek help. It is okay to talk to someone. We are in this together. At the end of the day, we all want to thrive. We want to be good stewards of our time, good stewards of this profession, this career. And we're in this together. And there is help out there. There's people that you can talk to in confidence that will have your back and will support you throughout the process. I joined this profession 28, close to 38 years ago, and I really did join it to make a difference in the lives of other people, make a difference in the community that I vowed to serve and to protect. Fast forward to today, it's the same mission, same goal as a chief police, to continue to make a difference in the lives of other people and make a difference in the community that I vow to serve and to protect. So.
And that's our message for governor. All right. Give us
A vote for
story.
Chuck is a vote for
A
mental
vote for
health.
Chuck, man. We got this. Man, I moved down here, and I will tell you that not 2 days later, I had a voter's card. I was like, wow. And then I got a jury duty summons 2 days later. Awesome. So give us a funny story.
Oh, a funny story. Wow.
You know me, I like funny. My job is serious, man. I need funny.
So,
I knew it'd throw him for a loop.
I can. I can. Okay, so when I was at FDLE, I interviewed some people that was involved in the Casey Anthony case. So I had interviewed her jailmate, interviewed a couple people, and so I was on a witness list, right? I was deposed and said a testimony before the defense attorneys and everything. So one day I'm sitting in the office. I'm a captain at the time in Claremont. I'm sitting in the office, and the trial's getting ready to come on TV, and I got it all up on the internet, getting ready to watch everything. And it's getting ready to come on, and I'm like, all right, I want to watch this. You know, I was involved in this case. My phone rings, and it is the courthouse saying something. I don't remember the exact words, but it was on the lines of, you are a witness, and you are ordered to not watch the trial whatsoever because you could get called.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so
You had your popcorn ready and everything.
I was ready. So I literally had to turn it off, and I couldn't watch it because they didn't want my testimony tainted from. I never got called to testify in the actual trial. I was only deposed during depositions.
Right.
So if I could have, it didn't affect anything. But Lily was called like when I was just waiting for a couple minutes for it to start playing on my laptop.
Have you seen like the Dr. G show and all that?
Yeah.
I have not seen. Don't tell me. Don't spoil
Yeah.
it. I haven't seen it yet, but
Yeah,
I
it's good.
watched it and I'm like, ooh, I want to see.
It's a good documentary. When you read that, when you see that documentary, in one of the beginning of them, they show different reports up there, and one is the FDLE report, and you're going to see on the bottom my name signed. That was a report that I did, one of the reports that I did during that case.
Wow, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since you do all this leadership stuff and you hang out in Tallahassee, we might have to kidnap you for like a super podcast in Destin or something. Some leadership.
Let me know. Okay. Uh-huh. You know, we talked about.
I'll drag you up there. It's fine.
We talked about you can't say kidnap with Chief.
Oh God, I keep doing that, and he's like, "Don't say that. Don't kidnap Erica. Don't do it." I can't help it though. She's so cute. I just have to put her in my pocket. By the way, Erica Rodriguez, she's a sergeant at another police department.
Yes. Yep.
That we both know. So it's just that fun.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I can't say that word. I'm sorry. We will bring
Considering
you.
this is in front of the world, my dear.
I gotta, yeah. There's got to be a better word. Escort? No, that's terrible. Oh, we got to work on this. I need different words.
If Erica goes missing, Dr. J's going to be.
I know who called.
Oh, he's probably, my address is registered. I'm not hiding from anybody. So it's all good.
And I'm here in Canada, so there's no way I would have anything to do with it.
She says that now. She's in the other room. I don't know what she's saying. Kidding.
So I have a question getting back to this app, because now you've opened the floodgates.
All the wheels are going. You can
all
see the smoke.
wheels are turning.
The one we have is called Lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
Yep, Lighthouse. But there's several of them out there. There's one from Cortico or something like that. There's a couple out there. Okay,
so this isn't just specific for your department then? This could be for potentially all police.
So it is department. It could be for anyone, but we curtail for our department, correct?
Right.
Okay.
It could be for a fire department where they may have different features to it. You know what I mean? A smaller police department, larger sheriffs. So you can get this app and curtail it toward your department. So I even have things they can go on there for fitness apps. They can go for dietary plans. They can go on. It gives alerts reference to walking and just different tips throughout the day. But then again, there's a whole section on mental health, someone that they can talk to anytime throughout the day.
Yep.
Okay. Well, now we gotta take this to the street. So thanks.
Yep. Absolutely. And a lot of those apps are free. You can pay for like different add-ons, but a lot of the apps are free.
So why the hell doesn't every department have one then? Like this
Because Raul hasn't visited everyone yet. He's coming on next week. Just give him a minute.
Yeah, he'll talk about his app next week.
Yeah,
Because
this is his thing.
basically he says, listen, we're not in this to make money for the app, right? This is sincerely, legitimately wanting to help men and women in this profession.
Right.
So how can we charge when that's our motive and our intention? So the app is free, and again, to do certain add-ons, you can pay for them. But just to have that app and those features that I talked about is free.
Wow. Okay, so we're gonna make this a household name. Like seriously, every time I get off an interview with either a fellow officer or a veteran or active duty member, I get frustrated because I'm like, why are they not getting the help that they need? And now the help is there. Now we just got to make it known.
That's right.
So, oh brother, you have no
it's
idea.
hard to reach out for help when you don't know what the help is.
That's right.
Right.
So that's what Chief has created is a space where everybody has access.
That's right.
Of course, I figured this out today when I just found out that there's a veteran coalition here in Canada. And I just reached out to the head guy of that this morning because I was talking to the guy that went C to C for PTSD about a month ago. He was a sheriff in Calgary.
That's in Canada.
Yes, that is in Canada.
It's a podcast too, love. Not everybody can see the video, so we have to elaborate a little bit. That's why I asked the buckets.
Sorry. Well, I didn't think I was gesturing what province that was.
Some people don't know what Calgary is. The Olympics were there in like the 80s. Nobody remembers Calgary.
No one knows Canada. Trust me.
That's why we call it Canada.
Canada.
Lord have mercy. And I'm the one that asked her to be my co-host.
You love me and I'm fun.
Yes, I do love you.
But yes, this needs, I definitely, when Raul comes on, Dorothy will be definitely well informed and she'll be able to have, ask him much more invasive questions. See, we don't want her prepared though. See, that's scary. When Dorothy's prepared, it's like, whoo, don't ask him that.
It's like me on steroids from this episode. You're right. But this is the first time I have two other podcasts. So this one that I'm doing with Dr. J, I'm going in blind and I'm learning different things here. So yeah. I can basically go in the bush blind and do a podcast.
Well, we just let you talk. That's the deal. So any advice for those entering into policing now?
Policing.
96 to 2026? I don't know. Are you staying till 2026? You got to run for governor. Like, when is that happening? I'm kidding.
I'm staying put now. I'm staying put where I'm at.
I know.
I would encourage young men and young women to really consider a career in law enforcement. It is for the greater good. There's so much good that you can do to help and serve your community. There's so many things that you can do to save lives, to change lives, to help people not being a victim of a crime. So much training and just so many opportunities to venture into in this profession. So I encourage, because the last couple of years, our recruitment efforts has been a challenge. Not as many people are seeking employment in law enforcement today as it was 10 years ago. So I encourage young men and young women to do ride-alongs, to meet your local police departments, go to your local sheriff's department, ask questions, go to a recruiting fair, go maybe join a police explorer program or volunteer program, learn about law enforcement, and I encourage them to apply.
Sign a paper for the ride-along.
Seek this employment, seek this career.
What was your best day as an officer? My
best day, I would say probably one of my best days was getting appointed chief. That was a great day, because I look back many years ago as it was, more like, oh man, I'm going to continue. I was undercover narcotics for many years. So I saw myself more of a detective, saving the world and
I understand.
covering narcotics. And it was great. I mean, I learned a lot. Some of my greatest times in my career was working narcotics and being an undercover narcotics and working cases. But being appointed police chief now is kind of helping others. Again, like I mentioned before, helping others reach their goals. So to me, that's phenomenal.
Okay, but as an officer, like on duty, what was your best day?
As an officer, my best probably was my best time as an officer. I would say probably one of my best cases probably was writing getting approval from a judge for a wiretap and working that type of case.
Oh yeah.
And listening to phone calls.
That sounds so fun.
And it culminated into a lot of arrests. One case we seized like close to $1 million that was hidden in the backyard, buried, where we had intel where the money was.
Oh, wow.
And some of those cases last, 30, 60, 90 days. So I said that was probably one of my best cases I've ever worked.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I've done my fair share of podcasts before I chose to go down this road.
Mm-hmm.
What is a question that you have, what is a question that you would want to be asked on a podcast that nobody asks you?
Wow.
Oh yeah, I come right at.
Wow, you had some good questions. I would say what motivates you? Why do you do what you do? What motivates you every day?
Okay, what motivates you every day? Why do you
or something?
Mine is saving lives, baby. I love doing that.
Or tell us something about you that maybe a lot of people don't know.
Oh, I like that.
I'll go both answers. Motivate you and tell us something about you that most people don't know. You teach dance class, don't you?
Yeah.
On his spare time between.
I did do Dancing with the Stars here for a local charity event, but I can't teach.
That is awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah, for Lake County Education.
Amazing. I know you do a lot of work with special needs.
Yeah, we do. We're actually doing a law enforcement torch run next Tuesday for Special Olympics, where monies are raised and awareness is raised for all of our Special Olympics athletes. So we stay engaged, really engaged in the community, very engaged. Because again, at the end of the day, we want safe streets, safe communities. The majority of the community wants safe streets and safe communities. So why not create a force multiplier and achieve that goal together?
So what motivates you to stay chief? I mean, you've outlasted your chiefs by
I would say people. Again, leadership is all about people. I think coming to work every day, knowing that I can make a difference, make an impact in the community and lives of other people, that motivates me. And when I, have a maybe not such of a good day, you think about the impact that I can make, which really encourages me, inspires me.
I will say you are very, very present in your community, because every time I ask to drag you somewhere to a veterans event or something, you're like, I can't, I'm running the flag. And I can't, I'm serving beer, or I'm serving food, or I'm doing what do you do with your halo, dude? I need to know. But it's true. He's very, very present. He's always out and about, and people love that.
Yeah, and our community really respects that.
So seriously, what don't people know? Give me something.
What don't people know? So I have a distant cousin who I haven't spoken to in years, because he's a very distant cousin. There was some family disagreements, but so my distant cousin is actually LL Cool J.
No freaking way.
I knew I was going to get that. Yes.
We need to work on that relationship. I will mend that.
Oh my God.
All
I will
day.
fly back to Florida to help you mend that relationship.
You know-
I want to shake his
Wow.
hand and get a hug.
Well, I was watching a movie the other day, and do you know who, what's his name? Terry Crews is.
Yeah. Big guy.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching a movie, and I'm like, oh my God, I know him. And what's interesting is I had a cousin in California. He's like I think he's first cousin. And he was best friends. His name is Brian Jackson. And he was best friends with Terry Crews. And Terry Crews used to push me in the big wheel when we went out there.
Wow.
And I'm like, I know him. I remember him. And I got pictures of him pushing me on this big wheel. I had no idea 1 + 1 is 2. Isn't that crazy?
Wow, that is crazy.
No, I'm looking at you, Chief, and I can see the resemblance. Right now. Should we LL Cool J
Yes.
would be like, oh my God.
We need to foster that connection. Sure. Yes. Because I have questions for that man. I need love. Let's talk about that, sir. Come on.
Is he single?
One of LL Cool J's very early songs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm alone in my room.
I grow.
Stare at the wall.
I need love.
Yeah. See?
Oh, yeah.
We need to talk about that song.
Dr. J, we could be his backup singers.
Tapes, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
I can sing back up. Front,
Well, we
back,
did a pretty
whatever.
good job when I was in Florida.
Do what?
I said we did a pretty good job when I was in Florida.
Yeah, we did. I may just sing to your little heart's content. I think it's good for you. It's a healthy thing. She was all worried about being out of tune. I'm like, you're so loud, no one cares. We're in a convertible. It's fine.
Okay, no one knew that story. Now you just told it to the world. Thank
Well,
you.
he just shared that LL Cool J is his distant cousin. I thought we could share too.
Yes.
Just trying to help him feel a little bit more,
There you go.
included.
Feel the love.
Feel the love. Oh, hell yes.
Well, thank you, Chief.
Thank you, guys. This was great.
Yeah, this is amazing. We're probably much more invasive than you're used to. It seems like you have this speech that's about 15 minutes and you rock that, but we just kind of like snuck in there and asked you way more. It's good for you, right?
Yes, that's right. It is good for me. Thank you,
We
guys.
have this gift to make everybody family. So now
That's right.
Chief is
That's
part
true.
of our family.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Thank
And that means we're distant cousins to hell.
Well, we need to call LL Cool J and be like, hey, we're just cousins too now because we interviewed Chief Broadway.
We're whiter than white, but we're cousins.
See, you can say that. I'm not saying that. My grandpa's darker than him. Thank you very much. So,
well,
I
thank
claim
you.
it all.
I had a great time.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very
much
much.
for
All
joining us.
Hopefully see you all soon.
Well, you'll see
Sure.
me. I'm right down the road. I just
All
have
right.
I just have to fly her in. It's no big deal. We'll just hide her through the wagon or whatever and get her to Detroit, and then we can get her here. So.
All
You
right.
know, this is what I want to know. With the amount of veterans, first responders that I've helped, why do I not just have automatic security to get through the border? Like, why cannot that happen?
That's a good question.
Good point, yeah.
You have to ask
You know.
TSA. We don't know,
Yeah.
or Border Patrol.
Well, I want to find out now if anybody's listening that can help me with that because I really want some help with this.
Knowing Dorothy, she'll get a call tomorrow too. She'll be like, "Hey, I got the
Really?
answer.
That's right.
I
I
need
need
to
your
buy
help.
the $80 Clear Pass or whatever it is."
Nexus? Oh, please. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Chief, for coming on and
Thank you,
for
guys.
sharing in our shenanigans. And thank you to everybody that tuned in today. There's tons of comments there, so thank you. We'll go through them. And Dr. Marion joined us too. She's saying great interview. So thank you for joining
Yeah,
us.
she was our first podcast.
Awesome.
She's a
Number one.
chiropractor and she does a lot of innovative stuff with stem cells, and she's a pretty amazing human being. So
Thank you, doctor.
yeah.
Yes.
All right. You guys have a great
Thank you
evening.
guys for listening.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.